Alright, y'all, so today I'm going to be reviewing the fifth studio album from the American band The Beach Boys that came out in 1964, Shutdown Volume 2. Wanted to give you my thoughts on this album and just kind of go through my opinions. So, the Beach Boys were kind of progressing in their early careers, and I mean, the amount of output they were putting out was pretty incredible. I mean, they were putting out albums every few months, and it's kind of crazy. Now, some of the issues with the fact that they were releasing albums so quickly is the fact that they also were kind of just reusing certain songs from previous albums and putting them onto this other albums. Now, this wouldn't really become a problem in future releases, but I guess it's just kind of the nature of their earlier work. That being said, to kind of get into the Shutdown Volume 2 album, this is a pretty damn good album. I like this one. I liked it a little bit more than their last album. And I think it's really solid overall. There's a lot of really good songs here. There's even some covers. Sadly, there are some reused tracks from previous albums, it seems like. But I think it's pretty cool. It kind of continues a little bit of the car themes, but also a little bit of the surfer stuff as well. And some of their most iconic songs of all time are on this album. For example, you got Fun, 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 which is the opener track. I mean, this is one of my personal favorite Beach Boys songs, like one of my personal favorite of all time. I put this in like maybe my top 5, maybe my top 3 favorite tracks they've ever done. Maybe it's a little bit of a bias thing, but this was apparently the song that was kind of put onto the album, and it's a great song. I mean, it's really great. It's really cool. It's one of my favorite songs. There's also another amazing Beach Boys song on this album, Don't Worry Baby. It's kind of a continuation of certain themes that Brian Wilson was kind of messing around with on this album. Kind of a continuation, if you will, kind of a spiritual evolution of other songs that he did in the past, like The Lonely Sea and stuff. It's a really great song. I mean, it's easily one of their top 10 best tracks ever. It's a really great track and really cool. And there's also some pretty good, songs throughout this one. There's In the Parking Lot is a pretty good one. It's kind of a cute little track talking about going to the movies and drive-ins and such. And it's pretty solid. I also like Warmth of the Sun. This Car of Mine is also a pretty catchy tune. And Pom Pom Playgirl is also pretty solid. It's like I said, kind of with the theme of cars and girls in school, but it's catchy, admittedly. I think Why Do Fools Fall in Love is honestly also one of my personal favorite on the album. Probably like my second or third favorite track here. It's really great. Now, this is a cover of an old 50s song, but the way the Beach Boys do it, it's really great. Really great stuff. You even got the title track, Shutdown Part 2 here, which, Shutdown Volume 2, you may be confused why the title is called that. It's called Shutdown Volume 2 because Capitol released a sort of compilation album of a lot of the artists that were under their label at the time, and that was released, I think, in 1963. I don't remember, or it could have been 64. And, some Beach Boys songs were on there, like I think Don't Worry Baby and Shutdown Volume, I think Part 2 or something. Not exactly sure, but they decided to make a sort of sequel album, but compiled entirely of Beach Boys songs. Not exactly sure why it was called Shutdown Volume 2. I would have much more preferred if they just called it just an original name, like, I don't know, called Fun, Fun, Fun or something after the first single. It's kind of strange to me why that it was called that, just because it hints at something like it was a sequel when it's not really. And still part of their discography, so it's kind of weird. Keep an Eye on Summer is a really great track. That's another amazing one. I think it's actually quite underrated. It's a little bit of a deep cut that I don't think many Beach Boys fans or, in general, people who know about the Beach Boys know about. I think it's a great track. It's honestly on a par with something like Don't Worry Baby, almost. It's really a great track. And Shutdown Part 2 is decent enough. I mean, it was one of those reused songs from previous albums. So, yeah, I think overall there's some really strong songs here. I think that, it's a good collection of tracks. It's not really a crazy album. It's not meant to be anything more so than that. It's kind of just another compilation of early Beach Boys songs that they were doing at the time, some reused tracks. They kind of get in some cons. They reuse a weird, fun, kind of throwaway studio track called Casty Love here. And, it's the Beach Boys goofing around on a track. I'm not sure why that the Beach Boys did this. They did this a lot with their earlier albums, and I'm more mixed on it just because it's like the space that was given to that could have been given to another track that could have been another big hit for them. It just seems like a really big waste, a big waste of space, in my opinion. And, there's some, like I said before, some mixed songs here. There's a kind of Denny's drums that's just an instrumental, nothing crazy. Willy Willy is another cover track, and I prefer the original, personally. I think it's an okay song, but I do feel like, it could have been alright. And I don't know. Like I said, I think there's some corny tracks here and there. I did mention, like, In the Parking Lot was a good song. There are some corny parts of it, though, that I think show its age a little bit. But, that's the nature of listening to a 60s album anyway. But I know I've been a little bit harsh on some of the earlier stuff. I think this one's pretty decent, though. I also really enjoy the cover. It's a really nice shot of all the band members at the time, and they're surrounded by these cool cars and cool jackets. It's actually one of my favorite album covers from there, so that's a big pro. So yeah, my thoughts on this album, pretty solid, pretty decent. It's a decent follow-up. A little bit better than their last one. All right, peace, y'all.